Hello and welcome to the spookiest edition of BuffSports Live, the day after Halloween. I'm Velma.
And I'm SpongeBob. We've got a thrilling show for you coming up full of scares and frights.
Well, Ben, I don't know if anything can be scarier than the way our football play has been playing at the moment.
Yeah, Jess, I think that is exactly why this show is going to be particularly frightful. On Friday night, it was so close and yet so far as the Buffs brought out the big guns against UCLA, but ultimately they could not deliver as the final score read 35-31. The Buffs led the game for much of the night, including a late 31-21 lead, but after Steven Montez got hurt in the third quarter, that's when UCLA struck, throwing their last two touchdowns that got them the dub. It was yet another ghastly performance from the Buffs defense, as they still have not allowed less than 30 points in a game so far this season. But Mel Tucker did see some positives in that game.
This was a game where we could get something done on offense. We were able to move the ball. We ran the ball on our terms, and we were able to be efficient throwing the football. We finished in the red zone, didn't turn the ball over.
Well, after blowing it against the USC, the Buffs' chances of a bowl game are looking slim at just 3-5. But a win against UCLA tomorrow would help keep their hopes alive. The Bruins have a dynamic offense, leading the Pac-12 in rush yards per game. Their star running back, Josh Kelly, has over 750 yards so far this year, and quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson makes the Bruins a threat in the air as well. Meanwhile, for Colorado, Steven Montez says he might have figured out why he was struggling earlier this season. He says it's because he hasn't been running the ball as much, and that helps him get in rhythm. Montez plans to bring more of the run game to Los Angeles.
Yeah, to be honest, I love that. I love running the football, and I loved it when I first showed up here, and then I kind of got into the mentality that I was trying to turn into like a pocket passing quarterback, and I think I'm just a lot more comfortable when I can go and finish a few runs, and it kind of just gets me in the flow of the game.
Since the football team was off last Saturday, the men's basketball team tried to entertain their fans with an exhibition game against Pomona Pitzer. The Buffs won, not that that was a concern in an exhibition game, but it was a chance for Tad Boyle to see some of his guys in live game action, like Dallas Walton, who came in and immediately scored on back-to-back plays. In all, 11 guys played in the first half as Tad Boyle tried to figure out his rotation.
And while Tad was trying to figure out the best combination of Colorado players, there was a player on the other side who he was keeping his eye on. That's his son, Jack Boyle, who plays for Pomona Pitzer. The younger, not bald Boyle had a double-double, 10 points and 10 rebounds against the Buffs. And unlike his dad, he didn't have to swim in a pool of beignet afterwards either way. Tad said it was a special day for the Boyles.
Tad and the Buffs are going international. Colorado will play in the first Pac-12 China game against Arizona State a week from today. Even though they're in the same conference, this game in China will be part of CU's non-conference schedule. It's an early test for Colorado against the Bobby Hurley-led Sun Devils. Defensively, they'll have to deal with three of the best guards in the Pac-12. That is, unless one of the Buffs says something about Hong Kong. And hopefully the players, while they're over there, none of them decide to shoplift like a few of those UCLA guys did a few years ago. Looking at you, Leangelo.
Coming up, we have my favorite part of the show, which is watching all the PSAs and hearing about how the Buffs' soccer and volleyball teams are doing this season so far. But more importantly, we have Buff banter from our very own Vinay Simlaw, and I have a feeling he's going to mention the Nationals again. Stay tuned.
In artist, I'm not, but I am the voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, and you're watching Buff Sports Live.
Please record in Mike and Q talent in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mic up on 2. All right, take 1. And fade camera 2. Take 3. Ready, red. Roll red. Take cam 1. Take red. Take it. Come on, roll red. Let's go. All right.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm just calling the show.
There's no show.
They've finally done it. My Washington Nationals are the World Series champions, and there's been a lot said about the incredible story of the Nationals, a team that got to Washington less than 15 years ago. They were so bad, nobody took them seriously until just a few years ago. And there are lessons that everyone, including our Buffs, can take from this Nationals team. The first one, you're never out of it. Right now, the Buffaloes football team is 3-5. The volleyball team hasn't won a game in the Pac-12, and the soccer team has had an inconsistent season of Pac-12 play. Well, the Nationals had a similar start. The beginning of their season was disappointing. They were just 19-31 in May and ended up as the World Series champions. So for our Buffs, yeah, the fall sports might be disappointing now, but stick with them and we'll see where they end up. Let's move on to lesson number 2. Celebrate everything, including in life. In baseball, there are unwritten rules on how players should act, but the Nationals, they were different. They would celebrate every hit with a reference to the song Baby Shark. They had dance mobs in the dugout after a home run, and they had cabbage smashing parties in the locker room after a win. But the biggest celebration was when they got the job done on Wednesday night. Finally, the third lesson from the World Series champion Washington Nationals, boy, I love saying that, is love your teammates. There have been Nationals teams with more talent than this one. There have been national teams with bigger stars than this one. Bryce Harper. But those teams were all missing that one ingredient. The ingredient that made this national team the world champions. The teammates shared a close bond, a bond that made Steven Strasburg, a usually shy, reserved guy, sway and hug Gerardo Parra like they were at a middle school dance together. The bond that had second baseman Brian Dozier twerking on trainer Paul Lassard during the World Series, and the bond that made Adam Eaton willing to sacrifice bunt every time he got up to the plate. All of the players rooted each other on, they weren't competitive, and they were willing to sacrifice their own success for the success of their teammates. Sure, these lessons can apply to sports, and maybe the Buffs should take a few hints, but these are a model for team success, but these are also lessons that can apply to our lives. And guys, after the show, I'll be following the lead of Strasburg and Parra and sharing a nice slow dance with Steve Jones. What do y'all think?
Well, it is that time of the show again, our trivia question. As we just mentioned a little bit ago, Tad Boyle had the chance to coach against his son. So for this week's trivia question, we're asking you, how many kids does Tad Boyle have, including Jack? While the men's basketball team gets ready for China, the women's basketball team will be here at CU on Monday for their first exhibition game. They'll be playing against the Regis Rangers, a Division II team that's in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. After that game, the season will officially start next Sunday, with 2 home games against the New Jersey Institute of Technology and Wisconsin. The non-conference schedule wraps up in New Orleans for the Tulane Classic.
On Sunday, the soccer team faced against the California Golden Bears for their home finale. It was a hard-fought battle that went to extra time, eventually ending in a 1-1 tie. Senior Taylor Kornick scored CU's lone goal, while it was Emma Weston who buried Cal's score. Fellow senior Jalen Thompson made 8 saves for the Buffs, who are now 10-5-2. Come on, Buffs. You play to win the game. Hello.
While he may not have loved that game against Cal, Herm Edwards would certainly be proud of last night's performance from the Buffs. The soccer team went to Washington and beat the 21st ranked Huskies 1-0. It was the sophomore Hannah Schart who had the goal to put the Buffs over the top. The win was huge for the Buffs as they try to pad their resume for the NCAA tournament. And Rick George agrees. He tweeted late last night, huge, and I am talking huge win for the soccer team at 21 Washington. Big time indeed, Rick.
Colorado volleyball was overpowered 1-3 by the number 9 ranked Washington Huskies Sunday afternoon. Senior Justine Spanold had the match with a double-double, 14 kills and 16 digs. Sterling Parker and Megan Hart joined in on the attack with 10 kills each in the end. The Buffs were unable to get past the Huskies' 17.5 blocks, leaving Colorado a 0.55 hitting percentage. Seriously, they'd love to win a game before we talk about the playoffs.
Yeah, let me tell you, the great Jim Mora would not be pleased if anyone wants to talk about playoffs with this team. The CU volleyball team is currently on a 10-game losing streak, having now completed the first half of Pac-12 play. Despite this, they're still ranked 69th in the nation in RPI. Nice. The Buffaloes will look to get their first conference win this season as they host Arizona today and Arizona State on Sunday at the CU Event Center. Wildcats have also been struggling in Pac-12 play, but they just beat Oregon, moving them to 2-8 in the Pac-12. The theme for tonight's game against Arizona is game night, but volleyball savants will argue it should be called match night.
My glasses. I can't see without my glasses. Jinky SpongeBob, what's coming up next? Can you tell me?
Yeah, I think I can help you out there. You're lucky I'm wearing my contacts though, Velma. Right now we've got another break, but get ready to hear more about the rules the NCAA just passed in the roundtable up next.
They were nervous and inexperienced, as new faces looking to achieve greatness. As the years went on, they grew confident in their abilities.
Maybe. Yes, sir!
Now they look to guide others in the same pursuit.
There it is! Can you believe it?
All are welcome to be featured on the biggest stage.
Is it his time?
We invite you to discover what you're capable of at BuffSports Live.
So for this round table, we have brought on the big hoss of BSL, Vinay Simlot, here to discuss some of these new rules that the NCAA has passed. Vinay, how are you doing today?
I'm very good. I'm glad we're doing this because this is a very serious subject. My dinosaur and I are here to talk about these rules.
All right, so Vinay, just let us know, why are you here? What rules did the NCAA just pass?
So the NCAA just made this agreement. They voted to give players the right to make money off of their appearance, off of their likeness, off of themselves. Basically what that means is if there's a car dealership who wants to have an NCAA player as their spokesperson, they can now do that, and they can also now make money off of their jersey sales, which they couldn't do before.
Yeah, so if I wanted to go buy a number 2 CU jersey, I could put Chenault on the back there. It wouldn't just be
a number 2.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's very exciting, very exciting.
And this is after that law that just passed in California. And Mark Emmert of the NCAA made it very clear that this would not have happened if California hadn't passed that law.
It doesn't seem like a great look to me.
No.
Just like, we don't really care that much. It's just we have to, or else California has the unfair advantage.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Well, then how soon can we expect changes, Vinay?
Well, that's the question, right? Everybody's wondering, will this actually mean anything? Because that vote that they just took doesn't have anything to do with making any changes in the NCAA. So the vote they took means 14 months for the NCAA to decide how they're going to implement this rule. So that means they have 14 months to figure out how student athletes can actually get paid for being student athletes.
That's pretty interesting. So
Yeah.
what are they saying here at CU? How are things going to change here specifically?
Well, good question. Here at CU, it seems like for the most part they're supportive. The administration is supportive. So Rick George and Phil DiStefano are both on that committee that's going to help decide how these rules are going to be implemented. So CU will have a voice in all of this. It's not just going to be those big SEC schools that get to decide how the NCAA is going to run these rules.
Well, that's good, and maybe this means we'll finally get NCAA football, the game, back.
That's the big thing for you guys, right? Jessica and Ben, you guys are big fans of the NCAA football game.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
it so
EA
much.
Sports.
Good
Maybe.
times
Can't
playing
get
that.
enough of it.
Good times playing that back in
Maybe
back
it'll
in
come
high school.
back. Yeah.
So that's very exciting, but I don't know if that's quite as exciting as our next segment. We've got Rapid Fire up next. Velma, you think we need Mystery Inc. to figure this one out? Who's going to be on there?
Oh, I don't think I can figure that out by myself. And the culprit who's going to be stealing the show is our very own Drew Sherrick, who's usually behind the camera. So who would have thunk it, huh?
Drew Sherrick. That's some good detective work, Velma. We will also be able to solve the mystery of that trivia question when we come back.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Rapid Fire, the hottest segment that BuffSports Live has to offer. Coming up for the Buffs, the volleyball squad is still searching for its first conference win of the season. They'll take on Arizona at home tonight at 7 p.m. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. the Pac-12 Network, the Buffs take the gridiron. It's Colorado and UCLA at the Rose Bowl. It should be a high-flying affair between the two sub-500 teams looking to keep their bowl hopes alive. On the pitch, the soccer team is into its final stretch of the season. On Sunday, they head to Pullman to take on Washington State at 1 p.m. Hannah Sharch came up big with her first career goal. We'll see if she adds to her tally on Sunday. And last but not least, the women's basketball team tips off its season on Monday at 7. It's the Regis game, which is an exhibition. J.R. Payne's squad might be ranked last in the Pac-12 preseason poll, but go out and see for yourself. Well, this segment as always has gone from fire to napalm, and that's how we'll end it this week. Back to Ben and Jessica at the desk. I messed up on that Regis part. Did I save it? I saved it a little.
Well, well, well. It looks like it's finally time for the answer to our trivia question. You may remember, earlier in the show we asked, how many kids does Tad Boyle have? We had to do some family tree digging for this one, so we figured it should be pretty tough for you guys. Drum roll, please. The answer is 3. Along with Jack, Tad has another son, Pete, and a daughter, Claire. You know, I think our show might be ending because seems like it's time for me to get back to Bikini Bottom here.
To the end of our show?
Yep.
Well, we couldn't have done it with all those meddling kids who put the show together, huh? Jinkies.
Yeah, they did a wonderful job. I hope everyone has got a very spooky day after Halloween. Thank you for watching. This has been SpongeBob.
And Velma. Have a great weekend, everybody.